There we go. I'll start again. Good evening, everybody. Tonight we've got quite a lot. Richard's got quite a lot of information to share, and I'm not going to do my usual little. I usually do a little tech thing on back office to sort of help people get going. But tonight I'm just going to open up the meeting and let's get straight into it. So that's just a little bit Richard and I. I'm not going to read it all out. You can read that for yourself.
Oh, you took off Mr. Crew.
Oh, well, everyone knows you as Mr. Crew. So this is our compliance disclaimer. So we are not registered brokers or advisors. Just read it through. We do not offer financial advice. Please check everything we say. The figures we give you is just based on our own research, and when this is certainly not official information. Please seek confirmation from a licensed accountant or financial advisor for compliance in your country. And I'm going to hand you on to Richard now. He's got a great presentation for you, and then we'll go into question and answers at the end of this session. Richard, over to you. I'm going to share my screen. And you've got to share your screen, Richard.
Yeah, no, I'm clicking on share screen, host disabled, participant screen sharing. So you've disabled me at the moment.
Okay, we've got to fix that. There we go.
Okay. And I go up to here from current slide.
Don't you love our graphics, everyone? We're always looking at our pictures.
Yeah, no, why isn't that updating? Go away. Do that. Hang on a minute. Get rid of that. Wait, get that box out of the way. Here we go. All right, let me remove that. There. Okay, sorry about that. Just a little flicking some buttons tonight. The electronic brain of the company. So what are we going to talk about tonight? In this presentation, what we're going to be discussing, we're going to give a little bit of the history of artificial intelligence. We will briefly look at some of the simple forms of it, look at the machine learning, which is the digital twin, which is the bit that's going to be most relevant to us, and then look at artificial intelligence as it applies to the company Digital Doubles and social media, the management of social media, which is where we're going to get heavily involved in. How did that happen? How did I get back to here? There we go, sorry about that. Okay, artificial intelligence. John McCarthy, when he was at Dartmouth College, he was the person who convened what is known as the Dartmouth Conference back in 1956. Him and Marvin Minsky, they hosted this meeting and they coined the phrase artificial intelligence. The conference
Sorry, Richard, your screen's not being shared.
My screen's not being shared. Well, what have I done wrong? Screen share. I need to go to there. How's that? Are you on it now? Hang on a minute. I get rid of that stupid screen.
Yep, we can see it now.
Hang on, I just got to get rid of. I've got that drop-down box that's in the way that I keep telling you is in the way. No. Bear with me. I cannot. My screen's locked up now. All right, we'll just Let's see if I can. Okay, hang on a minute. I've got no idea what's happened now. Just. Oh, okay.
Maybe right click on one of the slides and go
It's got
view.
nothing to do with.
I think Richard's just muted himself. Richard, you put yourself on mute. I can't. Richard, can you unmute yourself? I can't unmute you.
Richard, you are mute. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah, Richard, unmute yourself. I can't unmute you.
There you go.
That's better.
I just got to get rid of this stupid box again. This drop-down box. If I knew how to get rid of that, that would be so good because it's blocking my ability to get into my slideshow. Why is it doing that?
Smart has been thrown out.
Why? Won't it? Hang on a minute, just bear with me. Bear with me, I just got to try and get it back into a full screen. How has it done that? Don't know. Michelle, I'm going to have to...
Usually, you should be able to escape. Press the escape key.
Escape.
Or right click. Control Shift. Oh, yeah, that's Control Shift, Option and H.
Michelle, can you let Najma back in? She's been thrown out.
I got
Sorry.
no idea why it's jumping all over the place tonight.
Michelle, Lucy is also waiting to come in.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Hang on. I've got no idea how this has happened. Sorry about this, guys. I cannot get full screen. Hang on. Maybe I got to do your share screening. How do I... just bear with me. I've got to try and find how I get to a full screen. How do I get to a full screen?
So, Richard, press on your control button and then Shift.
Yeah.
Option and H to get rid, and that should get rid of the top bar.
Control Shift
Option
H.
plus H.
Oh,
yeah.
And where's Option? Where is
the
okay, something got rid of something then. Okay, I just can't get to a full screen. So
you're on home now. Yeah, click on that. Just use that, Richard, I think.
okay, all right. If I can get rid of this little thing that's in the... Okay, all right. Okay, so really sorry about that. But anyway, getting back to the history of things, McCarthy and Minsky, they put the definition back then of artificial intelligence as any task performed by a program or a machine that if a human carried it out, and that thing's popped back in again, Michelle, it's a pain in the arse. Okay, let me start again. They described artificial intelligence as any task performed by a machine or a program that if a human carried out the same activity, we would say the human had to apply intelligence to accomplish the task. And whilst that gave a very broad definition to artificial intelligence, which created a lot of discussion and argument over the years, it's eventually come down to that artificial intelligence systems will typically demonstrate, this is what it's believed to be a fair description of it now, at least some of the following behaviours associated with human intelligence. There'll be planning, learning, reasoning, problem solving, knowledge representations, perception, motion and manipulation, and to some degree social intelligence and creativity. I really do not know. Over the years, since 1956, continuing small progress has been made until we have today. We have artificial intelligence surrounds us. It's in every day we will be coming into contact generally with some form of artificial intelligence. If it's any of these things you see, from a dial-in network service to a group chat room, our Alexia, Amazon Alexia, Siri, all of these things all use some form of artificial intelligence. The entry level for artificial intelligence is the bot. It's a simple, it's a non-interactive communicating program that it is, you simply program it. In this example, you have a bot trading Bitcoin. You will simply trade, you will put parameters of trading into this computer program, and it will then automatically search various platforms looking for the parameters that you have put into it, and then it will trade Bitcoin for you according to how you've programmed it. The next step up from that bot is becomes interactive, but it doesn't initiate a conversation with you, and it's what's called a chat bot. And you'll see these very often. And as this example shows, if you were booking an airline ticket to go somewhere, this is usually done with a chat bot. The two chat forms that we generally use is, on the left-hand side, you'll see the chat bot. And whilst it is very, very good for just doing mundane routine things, it is not a very functional conversation tool, because a chatbot needs to be programmed and communicated with in a very, very specific way to get the result that you're looking from it. Whereas an artificial intelligence communication program has the capacity to understand a question without a direct question, the question being specific. It can read abbreviations, it can even understand spelling mistakes. It has the ability to be hooked to a much bigger data source, and it is a lot more scalable than whatever a chatbot will ever be able to produce. Just as an example of that sort of thing, there's an example here of a typical chatbot conversation, which would be asking you for very specific information. If you don't give that information in a way that it can read it, it simply can't help you. Whereas with the artificial intelligence, and this is where it's progressed to, is that you can ask it a question. It has a capacity to be able to respond to various and a wide range of questions and answer them successfully. At the higher end of the artificial intelligence scale, there's two broad types that are used, and that's what they call narrow artificial intelligence, and that's the sort of thing that you would use if you were booking through Airbnb or any of those booking agencies, where you'll look for and you'll put in a set of parameters, different rooms in an area that you want to go to, and it will go through and find various rooms that satisfy that. It's also narrow artificial intelligence. You may get prompts from companies like Netflix to tell you about a movie that you're part way through that you haven't finished, or a new one that they've released based on your viewing history. Also, they're used now a lot in medical areas where they can detect and find tumours, or they can find breaks, or they can find problems inside a human through an MRI or through an X-ray, and help the medical industry there. The other level, which is the general AI, now that's the associated with the Terminator type artificial intelligence, and you'll be very pleased to know that whilst Hollywood can produce them and have been producing them for a while, they aren't going to be produced very, very soon. They're many, many years away. A lot of current thinking is that because the level of understanding of the human processes of thought, we haven't even worked out human to human. It's going to be a long time before we work it out human to be able to put it into a machine. So the Digital Doubles company that we have an equity partnership arrangement in, where does it actually fit into the artificial intelligence? Well, it fits into the area that's the machine learning area, which is in the creation of a digital twin. And it works in the area that is a huge area of social media, and that's the management of social media. And anybody who is involved and participates in that, you will know just how big the social media arena is. And the type of people that our company is interested in targeting are very, very big users of social media. The marketing world sees social media as a huge area, an important huge area in the marketing of product and services. The amount of money that is put into the advertising in social media is also another indicator as to how big this particular market is. And with over 3.5 billion people every day using social media, the need for a lot of companies and people to be able to manage their social media is very, very real. So it begs the question, what is social media management? Social media management and what digital twins can do, and we will ask the question, which reminds me, on Sunday at 6 o'clock here in Australia, we have our online hookup with the Digital Doubles company. They're going to go through and do a question and answer session for anything related to Australia. Everybody needs to work out where theirs is in the country that they're from, so they get onto that particular webinar and ask questions. And hopefully this presentation will help people to form questions to ask these people. But on this screen here, you see the sorts of things that a social media management person or digital twin can do. And the size of the social media management market is huge. In 2018, it was a $9.2 billion business, and it's estimated to be by 2023 to be a $17.7 billion business, and that's real. That's big, and it's growing, year by year. the important thing for us to know about this is that it's a service industry. So it's a type of business, unlike, say, the basalt production that we're involved in, or the gold production, where it's going to take years for it to fully extend to its greatest opportunity. Because this is a service, the return is almost instant, that once the service is picked up and used by people, it doesn't, yes, it will take time for lots and lots of people to use the service, but once it starts to be used, and if we can use it on the scale that we're hoping to introduce it to the market in, it produces a very big, large sum of money very, very quickly. So what does a social manager do? This is a question when I was looking at what do they actually do? Well, this is a bit of an info poster on what is believed to be a good social media person. If it was a person handling your social media commitments, they need to be someone who is constantly aware of the company that they're working for, the world around them and their environment, where they can meet, tweet, update statuses constantly. They need to be able to do this to be a successful social manager. Their day starts very early, and these are the sorts of things that a good social media manager needs to do for their clients. And you can, if you look through that, probably don't quite understand why they got to listen to good music, but good music is good to listen to. But these are all the things that your digital twin can do for you, and it's something that will help certainly in a huge big way introduce us to new people and then maintain those contacts, because our digital twin can be trained in these key elements of being a successful social media manager. And it does take a lot of work off us in it being able to do it. Now, I'm sorry to say, fellas, but we may have to attach a female name to our digital twin, because the girls seem to have the upper hand in this running and management of social media. But it also is a very, very lucrative business, with the earnings of up to $100,000 a year per client, per company, just to manage a social media account. So coming back to this premise of a machine or a program being able to do work carried out by a human needing to apply intelligence, where do we start programming a machine and understanding where that comes from? Well, we started from the understanding of where human thought comes from. And this is considered to be the 3 levels of human consciousness, that the conscious mind consists of what we are aware of at any given time. You right now can hear me. You may also be able to hear noises going on in the background, and you're able to identify readily what those noises are. And this is information that's held in your conscious mind. In your subconscious or preconscious mind, it's an area where you have stored memories, and whilst you may not be thinking about those particular things at any given time, if there is something that stimulates a thought, you see something, you hear something, you might hear a song, and it brings back a memory of years ago, things like that. Those thoughts and those memories, and that's held in what's known as your subconscious or your preconscious mind. And it's these 2 areas that machines now are being what they call taught to be able to learn and react in. The unconscious mind, that's still a massively unknown area in human relationships, but it's that part of your mind where you often people say, oh, you know, I've got a gut feeling about this, or I just don't sense that this is either good, or you could sense that something is very exciting. This is going to be very exciting. We don't necessarily know why we feel that. We don't have any experience to be able to draw on. We just have it as a feeling. Now, science and medicine and some very, very intelligent people are trying to work out what that is all about. But until they do, that's where the Terminator is going to be coming from. So we've got a long way to go before we get into that part of machine learning. But to begin to teach a machine, the way that's done is that an enormous amount of data gets fed into a computer system or into a program. And for us, that's going to start with the questionnaire that we're going to be given shortly. And it's really important that when you get this questionnaire, to try and answer all of the questions relative to how you see the answers. Not there's no right or wrong answer, but if you answer them, if you see a question and you think, oh, that's the answer that I'd like to give, but this answer sounds better, you're not giving your digital twin a fair chance. You really need to answer those questions exactly how you feel about them. And then from there, your digital twin will look at your reactions in social media, look at your comments, look at many things about you that it can draw on from social media, and it will learn and can be programmed through weighting, and we'll talk about weighting in a minute. And that's the way that a machine is actually taught to be able to carry out specific tasks, such as understanding speech patterns, understanding a photograph, or being able to interpret a graph. And the way it does is, if you have a question, if that's your input and an answer, in this case, we want an answer that leads to a sale. What we do is we go through a thought process that comes from these 3 levels of conscious thought. And then what happens is, if we have gone through our thought processes and through those 3 levels and we don't have an answer, then what we will do is we will either go and ask someone else, or we will do a Google search or do something like that to be able to get an answer. Now, a similar thing happens with a machine. They have the input, and they have the desired answer they want, but instead of a thought process, they have what's called hidden layers. And hidden layers come from the questionnaire that we're going to be asked. It comes from observation of the kinds of things that you say in your social media interactions, the kinds of conversations, words and written, and then they're weighted to help generate the answer that any particular time a question, the input, the question that's been asked, then they will look for the best answer. And what they're looking for is, if they can't find an answer within your own setup, the hidden layers that have been created for you, a good digital twin has a database which is can be absolutely massive, and it can go research there and find that particular answer to a question or a problem that you've been asked to resolve. And what it will do in the weighting process, if a question, an answer is determined that it needs a number of the weighting number of, say, an 8, if an 8 will create the right answer that leads to the solution that's needed, and it searches through your own layers of what the programmers have been able to code into the computer relative to you, and it doesn't find an 8. It finds various other numerical values, but it doesn't find an 8. That's when it will go to the data bank, and that data bank can search thousands of similar people, like similar twins. The data of thousands of interactions are stored and kept, and that's where it will find an 8. Now, then it will add that to your hidden layers, and then the answer will be produced that's necessary to be produced. So here we have just an example. This is Mary, and we're going to produce a digital twin for Mary. Mary will be asked questions, and the digital twin, the programmers of her digital twin, will review her comments in social media, her talk, her chats, and information that is relevant to her interactions with the people she talks. And they will create these layers here, these central layers. And what these layers are, these are where a weighting will occur. And I'm going to show you just in a minute how that works. And it can change the direction of a thought process. Here, we're looking for these outcomes, but a person can go through a multitude of different processes to get to that number 8. And I'm picking number 8 just as a number, to be what the computer is actually looking for, because computers all end up working on a numerical scale. What does occur, and this is what makes something like a digital double in this area of what they now call deep learning, which is the extension from just machine learning. There's someone not muted, Michelle. Can you just check that? That if your own system doesn't have an answer to something, like I say, it can then go and draw off this massive data bank of people. And this is what they now call the deep learning of a machine, where I can be here in Australia with a problem that I don't know an answer to. The machine can research its data banks, and it could find that scenario has occurred somewhere. For example, it could be in China, between two people talking in Chinese. And the system can pick up that conversation, translate it into acceptable English, and then present it through my digital twin into a conversation that it is having with someone in my social media group. So it's an awesome power, and having that ability also puts a tremendous amount of pressure on all of us to be, particularly with aspects of the new economic evolution of the world, to be right up to date, because we actually don't want that awful situation of our digital twin actually knowing more than us. That would not be cool. So it really means that we have to know, we need to be aware of everything that's happening as it's happening. A digital twin can be programmed to have company promotions fed into it. And these are all the things that, when we have our conversations with the digital doubles people, like I say, for us here in Australia on Sunday night, these are the sort of questions that we need to be asking, and everybody needs to be asking, to understand the great depth that digital doubles or digital twins. Digital Doubles is the name of the company, and they create digital twins. That's the generic term of what we're talking about. but these digital twins have incredible depth to what they and how they learn, and what the resources that they can draw on to find answers to solutions. This is just a little info over time. We started off with the artificial intelligence, which was a computer system that gave the appearance or sounded like it was human. We had that. We then progressed to this machine learning, which is a very advanced state of learning, and where a machine can actually be programmed to relearn and to be reprogrammed through this thing called weighting, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. And now we have this added benefit now with this deep learning, and it is going to be something that's going to be fascinating to know how well the Digital Doubles company has advanced into the deep learning side of artificial intelligence. There's two areas of machine learning, and we need to just talk a little bit about the two general categories. There's supervised machine learning, and they're very, very basic. It's like the questionnaire that we're going to be given. It's data that is actually fed into a machine that then allows certain inputs and outputs to predict what's going to be the outcome of a new input. And that'll come from our questionnaire. It'll come from observations of our social media interactions. And it will also come from this great data pool that is possibly able to be accessed by our digital twin. The other area, and the unsupervised area, and this is a fascinating area of artificial intelligence, where it will look in social media, in the management of social media accounts, and it'll look through, and it will find people with certain qualities. For example, in your social media, you might find that there is a person who is continually asked, what do you think about this? Or what's your view on this? Or how would you do this? And your digital twin can read those things, and it can form an opinion that, you know, that person is a centre of influence within this social network. So that person would be someone that they would tag with a higher valued number, because that person could be, if they're shown how to do networking, a very good network marketing type of person. You can also organise through with the people that are programming a digital twin to weight specific people. If you are a technically minded person and you find that you communicate better with those sorts of people, then you can program your twin to be looking for that sort of person. You might find that being a single mum, that you talk better with single mums. Well, you can program yours to have a weighting to looking for those sorts of people. And so it's incredibly versatile, and the depth of how you can set your twin up as to what to look for and how to do it it's fascinating to read about. So if you imagine there's this massive library of information that's going to be put into a machine, and it's going to be working for us or for you and for me. And it's done the learning process. I'm not going to go through the whole learning process, because these are the 10 of the most common ways that learning is done. If anybody wants to know the detail of this, just get back in touch with me and I can send you all of this information. But this is the stuff that the digital doubles people need to know. We don't need it. We just need to know that it exists and what they're doing. But this is the way a machine will learn. If you look at this, the input in this particular case is this person is a business person, they're married, they have a social media presence, and they've got 2 children. So that's the input. That's setting up the person's personality. But the weighting is the thing that the weights that help the machine learn becomes, you look at this next thing, that they've been in business for 10 years, they're a community leader, they're also a network marketer, and they've got 8 employees. All of a sudden, once it sees that they've been involved in networking, it will put a higher number onto that person and move that person into a different category within your friends list. And then information that is specific and of interest to a network marketer, that would be going to that person. It will have lesser weighting about being a community leader, but information that comes up through this great data source that it can access, that if it was relevant to a community leader, it would then send information to that person. But this weighting structure creates this learning process. If that person is in discusses and then later on they stop being network marketing, they get right out of network marketing, that weighting factor will change because they're no longer doing it. So instead of having a high weighting factor, they will drop down, and the machine will readjust its thinking. It's not, we know it's not thinking, but they call it thinking, but it will readjust how it assesses that particular person. And all of these things, they're a constant, they're a fluid thing, they're constantly changing. And our machine, our twin, can keep up with this all the time and keep up with the increasing amount of data that it's getting from this central database. And that's the reason why we need to be, if we're going to involve ourselves with these digital twins, we can't be casual about it. You're not going to be able to get involved in the digital twin program and then just sit back and do nothing. You're going to have to sort of understand that it's a really important part of business, and it can't be treated lightly because they are a great tool, but they do need to be handled properly. So digital doubles, and us, we know that the digital double people talked the other week about that one person, they can create a 10,000 strong friends list too, in not a real long time. Now that's not 10,000 members of the company. It's 10,000 people that have gone through a process of scrutiny and filtering, that are 10,000 people predisposed to having the thoughts or the potential to be someone who our digital twin says this person has all the criteria, all ticked all the boxes. They would be a good person to have in our business. Now we know that if we got 1,000 of those people, that would give us 10 million such people. And again, this is it's not 10 million members of the company. It's 10 million people who are predisposed to having an interest in the sorts of things that our company is doing. Now, right now, we have just under 1.4 million members. And if just 1% of our membership decided that this is something that they could get behind and they could learn, we would generate instantly a 14,000 member, just under 14,000 minor base. And that would produce, same numbers, it's just pretty easy mathematics so far, the potential of 140 million people who have an attitude and a disposition that the sort of thing that we're doing, the business, the concept, and everything about the new economic evolution of the world is something that they would find an interest in. Now, without getting, can you mute them, Michelle? The people on the car horn? Sorry, let me just, if we take that a little bit further, not going to spend a lot of time on that, but if we had 10% of our members join, well, you're talking about just massive, massive sums of people. So let's get back to this 140 million. Does that mean that we're home and hosed with the company, with Digital Doubles? Is there anything left for us to do, or do just Digital Doubles just do it? Can we just sit back and relax now that we've got, or now we're going to have access to these Digital Doubles? Well, the big answer is that's a big, big no, because Digital Doubles can't do presentations of any kind. They can't present to people, they can't present to organisations, to clubs, businesses. They can't go and show a merchant the advantages of joining the company's ShiCard program with a Digital Double. And can you imagine the value to a merchant of being able to combine these two things as the world slowly comes out of a lockdown? That's going to be really, really huge. Now, to some people who think Digital Doubles was something that I just get when I don't have to do anything else, Digital Doubles will be a pest, because you still have to present, you still have to enrol, you still have to support the people that you enrol, and you still have to train those. Granted, there's a lot of things that have been made easy. You don't have to do a lot of looking for people to talk to, but you still have to do those. Now, I think it's a pest, but I've just put a different slant on that word. Is I think the Digital Doubles program and artificial intelligence will help us project the concept and the vision and the whole being of the new economic evolution of the world in a way that is bigger than we're ever going to be able to do any other way. I think Digital Doubles and artificial intelligence, we will be able to encourage a massive number of people and sustain that massive number of people. And ultimately, the big T is to actually achieve Andre Hirato's dream of actually transforming the world. So on that, Michelle, I have ended my presentation. I will stop sharing and we're back to everybody else.
Well done, Richard. Can everyone just put a cross in the comments just to show some love to Richard, even some love hearts and smiley faces if you can. Thank you, Richard. You gave some really nice comments. Yay. We now go over to questions and answers. If anybody would like to ask some questions, please unmute yourself and ask away. Thanks, John. He's just Harry. Thank you, Mike, Tom, and thank you, Tony. Great comments, Richard. You'll be able to look at them later. I know you've probably not been able to see that on your screen.
Yep. Anybody got questions? No? I did such a good job. It just answered everything. It's either that or you've been hit between the eyes and you got no idea where to go next. How soon? How soon? we have our Australian meeting is this Sunday. It was said on the 15th of June, they believed the questionnaires would be beginning to be circulated. So I'm guessing that by the end of June, everybody who wants to participate in the program should have their information given to them. Then it's just a matter of filling them out and then sending them back to the company. I do not know how many people, and these are questions that we will ask the Digital Doubles people, you know, like how many people do they have on their end? If we send in 5,000 questionnaires, how long does that take to process? And I don't know that. I don't know that answer. I don't know. I don't know a great deal about that. So, but I know that that's going to start on the 15th of this month. Will there be a cost to? Yes, there is. There's 3 costs that we've been advised of. There's $100 cost, and that would give 2 social media platforms that we have. They would work through 2 social media platforms. There's a $200 cost, and that's 2 social platforms, but for an entire family. Now, I don't know how many people they suggest. I don't know what they define as a family. And then there's a $250 package, which is 150 is okay. Thanks, Tom. 150, and then there's a $250 package, which is basically every member of your family and every media. Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's a good idea. So that's every member of your family and every social platform that they cover is on the $250 package. But again, that would be something that you can chase up with people that when they're talking to you in whatever country you're in, you can qualify that with them as they come round to each of the countries. Anything else?
Any more questions?
Yes, it's a one-off cost. Yep, Yep, that's yeah, amazing project. It really, really is. It's quite daunting when you think, when you understand this. This ability that they have they can retrain this machine through this waiting process, so they can be fine-tuning your responses and your answers, and they can also be searching their data bank to see if there's better answers than the ones that we're giving at the moment. It's absolutely amazing opportunity, but with that opportunity is also going to come a very, very powerful responsibility, because what it will do is they can know very, very readily that, say they can look at someone, they say, okay, we've got a person here who, and we've got 15 times he's got to a point and he's stopped. And our records show that every other person who, when they get to that point with 15 people, 9 of them keep going. And they're going to be able to find out if there's areas that we can improve ourselves in, because they've got a yardstick to measure performance by. And that's fascinating, because you can be, or I can be doing something where I think I'm getting a good result. And yet you could find that with a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of help, we could get a better result. But because I don't have a benchmark to measure myself against, we don't know. And this is going to be, this is going to be a tremendous opportunity for us all for personal development, but it is going to require, I think, a very serious attention to it. You're not going to be able to be very just sort of casual with it, because it's not just the money that you're wasting if you're too casual with it. It's the lead generation that is coming in, that if you're getting these, if this digital twin is creating opportunities for you to talk to people about the new economic evolution of the world, and you're not doing it because you're not bothered, or you just had a bad day and you're just not doing it, that's potential that the company is missing. And so we all need to be very, very mindful of the responsibility that we have to Andre Harada and to the company, that if they've provided this vehicle to us, that we need to support them and back it. Can one access digital? Yes, you can. Yeah, there's part of the process is you'll get the opportunity to review your results, and they can be matched against a corporate overall plan. But yeah, no, there is the capacity within the digital twin system for you to match yourself and see how you're going. And what we talk about, and the reason why I call them digital twins, is the digital twin is the generic term used for this machine learning concept. That the digital doubles is actually a company that is working within the digital twin system. And I don't know to what degree they've developed their database and their structures, whether they are going to use the information that they gather from us and build a database, or whether they already have one that they're going to be able to tap into that helps us develop and grow from an existing database. But certainly they're the sort of questions that I'll certainly be asking on Sunday night to get that information. It's just a matter of knowing how far the digital double company has progressed into this field of artificial intelligence.
I think with the digital doubles, for many of us, and I'm included, that have trouble building large teams, this is a great alternative for us to embrace and accept that new technology is out there. And like, I'm kind of like the tech girl, and I love technology, and I just can't wait to sort of experiment and see how this works. And like, I know I'm guilty, like presenting and finding new people to present to. I'm sure there's lots of us that kind of feel awkward, and I don't know if anyone else is out there that's like me. But I look at the leaders and I go, how do they do it? How do they get tens of thousands of people in their team? And I'm struggling to get anything like a large team, and I don't have that confidence to just present the way a lot of the leaders do. But I think this technology is definitely something we need to look at and embrace and have a go. And even if you start with a small package and you experiment, and that could be just setting up a different social media profile if you don't want to have this get in touch with your friends. If you sort of think, oh, I want to go outside my friendship circle, which I probably will too, you can set up a separate profile, Facebook page or Instagram, and start building that for the purpose of this. So that's something to think about, in the future. Like, you don't want to just sort of set up a social media and start adding lots of friends either, because there's lots of penalties for fast growth in numbers. They start looking at you. So just keep, have a think of this, and try it when it comes out.
And another thing which the company are working on right now, and it'll be out. I'm hoping that it will come out before we get. We can maybe, and again, we'll need to talk to the digital double people. We can maybe have it set up where a digital double can be talking to a prospective person and have them run right the way through to where that person is interested to know and to look and to know more. And the digital double can suggest to them to go to our back office and click on our referral link to get further information. Now, when a person does that, two things happen. First of all, the company will send that person an email saying, congratulations, you now have with the current promotion that they have now, congratulations, you've now got 30 for registering, you have 35 crew points credited to your account. To simply redeem them, you need to verify yourself and follow the rules of they'll work out the exact words of that. But it's an auto response thing that they send out. Then they will send a email to, if it was one of mine, it would send an email to me saying, Richard, John Smith from so-and-so, his email address is such and such, or his phone number is this, whatever the person has left, has joined the company through your referral link. Please go and have a talk to this person. Now, when you do that, there's an opportunity to, if you are comfortable, to straight away go talk to someone. You can go do that. The other thing that we are doing right now in the education group is we're working on creating a video that you could then send to someone who has done that response, and it will give them a bit of an overview of the company, a little bit further information with the prompt at the end of it that if they're still wanting more information after that video, that they can get back to you and communicate with you. And the advantage of that video is that it gives everybody a chance to actually follow that video up. It gives, sometimes people feel hesitant in, what do I say to someone? I don't know what to say to them when I start talking to them. If you've sent them a video, then you can you can ring them and say, you're just following up the video. Did they receive it? What did they think? It's a very, very low pressure, low key conversational way to begin a conversation. It's not a threatening, you're just simply following up to make sure he received the video and did he have any questions as regarding it. Then, you take it from there once that occurred. But, that's just another little step in the program. If the person gets back to you and says, hey, I look at that video, that's really good. Where do I go next? You can do all of that. And it's not that, believe me, I am not the guru of this sort of stuff, but I was writing that presentation that we just did. And while I was doing it, I was helping a girl in the Philippines join the company and then enroll her son. So it's not hard to do if you've got a reason to engage someone in a conversation, and then from that conversation, you then you run with it and see where it goes, and you just look for the hints of what to say next. And we can do things in the education group where we can have questions where people say, gee, I was talking to someone and they said XYZ, how do I answer that? And we all can work with helping each other create these answers, so the whole experience becomes more beneficial and more of more value. And let's face it, the more value we can put into these digital doubles, the quicker we're going to grow this business. I talk a lot, don't I?
But you have great things to say, Richard.
Oh, I like you. Oh, I like you.
I think Richard does a great job. Does anybody else want to say something or contribute? What about John? John Koo? Come on.
Him and Rose have been practicing maths all night.
No? Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, Richard. Hi, Michelle. I have a question.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it possible to make a webinar about the 3 tokens to explain clearly and simply?
Sorry, can you just repeat that again?
Is it possible to make a webinar about the 3 tokens? The HA token,
Actually, there is a webinar. I think it's tomorrow. Is it the 11th? It got sent out today. Maria and the man who is helping the company build the blockchain, the two of them are doing a webinar in all 7 languages. I saw the post and I registered on it today, giving a really big update. And that's one of the things they're talking about, the 3 coins that we have. It'll be a fully translated into all different languages webinar. So check in the education group later on tonight, because once this is over, I'll post the link in there. If it's not there already, I'll post the link in there so you can register for that, because that will be a fascinating webinar to participate in. And it's at 12 o'clock. It's 12 noon Moscow time. And
Okay.
I believe it's on the 11th. But Tom's nodding his head, so I'm going to take that he's not asleep, that he's actually saying yes. Yep, yes, he's saying yes. So, okay, so 12 o'clock Moscow time on the 11th of June is that webinar, and that'll be a fascinating
Correct.
one. That'll be a
Okay, thank you.
fascinating one to sit in on.
Okay, thank you.
Richard,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of my team get frustrated when they get videos in Russian. And I've found that it's quite easy to overcome that problem. Go in and select the subtitle, even though it's in Russian, and then go put in auto translate, and you get everything in English.
Yeah, you did. I saw one though, that the last one that Maria gave. I think the auto translator was having a night off. It was just, it was not. They were not having a good day at translating that last one. But yeah, you're right. And that's a really good. You do have to push in Russian first though before it will go to auto translate. It seems that you actually do have to engage the Russian language first, and then go back into settings to do the auto translate. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I've done that
I
a
have
few
a-
times myself already.
Hey, I've got Naj McCann's got a twin sister here today. She's on two screens. Oh, she just disappeared. All right, it's all right. I'm just looking at the screen, just making note.
Am I? I'm only signed on one.
No, you were on two just a minute ago. Anyway,
All right.
that means you got to talk now. Anybody? Questions? Anything?
I do have questions.
Richard,
I'll leave it to webinar.
Say again.
I said I do have questions, but I'll leave them till the next webinar.
Oh, okay. All right.
Richard, I have a question.
Yes, Mike.
My question is similar to the to John's. In reference to the digital twins, regarding different accents. Like
Yeah.
I can put on a French accent, English speaking. So will the twins be able to differentiate that, or will it all be questioning in English, or will they be to every particular country?
No, in the digital twin system can be in different languages. It's not just in English, so you can it can be set up in French, Chinese, German. I don't know.
Is that in text format or is that verbal?
No, verbal and text. But you need to ask the digital doubles people this, because what is applicable to digital twins, which is the entire industry, may not necessarily be applicable to digital doubles, which is a company within the industry. So what the information that I've researched and talked about tonight is what's available to the industry that is creating digital twins. So we need to talk, and the purpose was to do it tonight so we could maybe stimulate questions to ask the digital double company where they actually sit within this digital twin industry. So that's a good question that for you, Terry, to if your question is in language,
Yes.
you know, how to, you know, is it possible? But in the digital twins language industry, yes, it is in written and verbal form.
Thank you.
Anyone, Liz? Big
Any more
smile on your
questions?
face there, Shuri.
We might call it soon.
Yep, okay then. We'll pull the pin.
Thank you, Richard, and thank
Okay.
you, Michelle. Great
Thank
job.
Thank you, John.
Great job.
Thank
Well,
you.
I
We
hope it
are
was
both
worthwhile,
learning.
John.
We learn every week, so be
Yes.
patient with us, guys. Like, you know, we're just like you guys. We're just having a go, as I always say. We're just having a go with this, and we are so grateful for all the support you guys constantly give us, and turn up to our webinars and put up with all our technical breakdowns. But thank you, and
Yeah.
Richard and I always enjoy the numbers and the support we get here.
No,
I'm
I'll
gonna
say,
go and have a-
I'll say कि you guys are always amazing.
Thank
Whatever,
you.
like say the stuff that you guys come up with, and everybody listen to it, like say thoroughly with their mind, and like say their suggestions, and ask you the questions also. That's fantastic. I really appreciate those
you.
things.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
mate.
you, Shikar. That's beautiful. Like,
I
it's so
also-
inspirational.
I also got a message from Sharon. She's of the support help desk of New, and I got her into this meeting, and she said also it was a great meeting. I learned a lot. She said,
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, all right, people.
You guys
Yeah.
rock. Like, let's do this, guys. Like, I reckon I reckon we all should just get into digital doubles, and let's when it comes out, even if we get the smallest package, let's all help each other and just like be the rock stars. Like, I think it needs a couple of new people up there in the top. So let's all be there. Let's all get there together.
Yep, absolutely. I'm up for
Great.
that.
I'm there. We're there. Let's all do it.
Yeah.
when
Even
I
though
was
we
on
struggle building teams, but we're there. We're going to do this.
when I was on
I
the
think I
meeting,
put in the chat that I'm offering my business system to my entire team for them to get comfortable before they invest.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty generous.
That's very cool.
when I was on the meeting of the digital doubles, the person that was having this meeting, he said everyone that's attending this meeting and will take a digital double will become a president in this company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a very bold statement he
Yeah.
made.
That is a bold statement. And we've got to
Not
really
worried
think,
whether
are we
this
ready for the
double
extra
will be-
workload? Do we want the extra workload?
I don't know
Let's be
if
honest
you
here,
want
guys.
to,
Do we
to
want
set
that
a
extra
false
workload?
expectation.
Very good.
I think we'll
But that's how
take it if we-
powerful the digital double will be.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm up
All
for
right,
it.
guys. Well, we're going to call
Alrighty.
it, and I'll upload the copy to our YouTube channel. If you haven't joined, I have put a link in the chat, so please join and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And
Oh, yeah, and also,
yeah, you can get a copy of it.
Najma made that point, is that if it's possible on those webinars, actually write a comment, because people will often, before they even look at the video, they will skim through the comments to actually see if people think that it was worthwhile even listening to. So if it's possible, I mean, don't do it if you don't want to, but it would be really beneficial to have some positive comments attached to those particular videos, particularly referencing to my handsome looks and, you know, all that sort of stuff.
And guys, and Richard and I are just like you. Like we actually just spend time Googling and researching and crunching numbers, and you know, we don't get any special treatment or any support from the company. So all the things that we come up on these webinars are our own research and time. And you know, so we try to you know, create great webinars for people to understand, and that's our goal. So any wonderful comments will really help us and help everybody else out there.
Yeah.
Great. Great.
Okay.
Do-
Bye for now,
Thanks, guys.
people.
That's
See
a
you
given,
later.
Michelle.
Bye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
you.
Good night.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.